Hello, it's Mac here, and today I'm talking about the biggest mistake that Rockstar made with GTA Online, or at least one of them, because there are a number of mistakes I could talk about, and things that I feel they did wrong. But today I want to talk about just one specific thing that really Rockstar could have fixed, and it probably would have been pretty easy. So what I'm going to be talking about today is the sudden stop in items that you unlock after a certain point in the game. So this is mainly just for GTA Online. There isn't really any levels in GTA 5, so I'm not really going to talk about that. However, in GTA Online, there's pretty much a point where you get to a certain level, and then there's just no items afterwards. And this has been the case since the beginning of the game. They've never tried to actually address this or anything like that. And so, in GTA, the max level that you can be is level 8,000, which is insane. Level 8,000, you're pretty much never going to get there in anytime soon. The only people that really are level 8,000 are pretty much just hackers or people that did like glitches and stuff. For the most part, you're not going to be a level 8,000. Even a level 1,000 is pretty rare. And it hasn't always been level 8,000, I don't believe. I think that was they introduced that in an update. It used to be, I think, 1,000 or was it 800? I'm not too sure. It was somewhere around there. Then they updated it and they made it 8,000. And that's where it is right now. So the max level in GTA right now is 8,000. And I feel like they just made it 8,000 so that it would be super easy to combat cheaters and modders and stuff like that. Because, like I said, if you're a level 8,000 character, most likely you modded the game or you used cheats or exploits or whatever. That it's mostly a guarantee because there's pretty much no way to get to that level in the amount of time that GTA has been out. However, with that level 8,000 level cap, there's no reason to ever get to that. There's no reward there, which kind of makes sense because it's so absurdly high. But most of your progression in GTA Online, after a certain point, is completely meaningless, and it's just a number. And so, in GTA right now, pretty much the level cap that I like to talk about is level 120. And that's whenever you unlock your last item in GTA Online that is tied to a level. Level 120 is it, and it's only one item. At level 120, you get the minigun. After level 100, though, that's the only item. The only level that actually gives you something after level 100 is level 120, which just gives you the minigun. Until level 100, that's pretty much it. After you get to level 100, you've pretty much unlocked everything aside from the minigun, which even then, that's only level 120. So there are 7,880 ranks in GTA Online that are absolutely meaningless, aside from a number. And in GTA Online right now, I think I'm level 400, that's not counting like second characters and stuff like that, and other platforms. However, I just got to level 400, and it kind of dawned on me is that there's no reason. I shouldn't even care, and I really don't care about my rank. It's just a cool number, but I don't care about my rank. RP is meaningless to me at this point, at least on my main character. That's kind of why I have a second character. That's why I play on my second character, because RP actually matters on those characters. And then that's why I deleted my second character after I got to level 120. And it's one of the biggest mistakes I feel Rockstar made with GTA Online, because getting to level 120, it takes a bit of time, but it's not, completely out there. A lot of people can do it. You have to put a bit of time in. It's not super quick. However, if you put in a bit of time, you'll be able to get to level 120. Not too difficult, especially with all the double money and RP that Rockstar does these days. And, sure, back in the day, it was a little bit more difficult to get RP because there are just less methods to get RP. But nowadays, it's pretty easy. You get a lot of RP for a lot of jobs, and it's not too difficult. This is something that Rockstar has never really tried to fix, or never really tried to add in items that actually have a level requirement after rank 120. The only DLC item, I believe, that they've ever introduced that actually had a level requirement that isn't like a job, like I know heists, or like I think you have to be level 8 to start a heist or something like that. The only actual item that requires a level is the dubs to 6x6, which was in the hipster update, which came out in GTA Online over 2 years ago. And that's only a level 100, so that's not even higher than the max item in the game, which is the minigun at level 120. and I like it, but at the same time, you know, that's only one item. I guess you could also say the gold paint job. I think those are still level 100 requirements. I mean, that's pretty nice. That's a bit of prestige. But like I said, level 100 nowadays isn't really that special. I mean, not everybody has a level 100 character, I know that. But it's not super rare. You know, the game has been out for over 3 years. A lot of people that have played the game are at least level 100 or pretty close. So if you play the game a bit, you're probably already at level 100, so it's not really a prestigious item anymore. Sure, maybe back in the day, whenever the hipster update came out, I'm sure less people were level 100, at least legit. Nowadays, the game's 3 years old, and being a level 100, I can't think of a single DLC other than that actually had level required items. And on one hand, I wish that they would do this, but I hope that if they ever do, you know, introduce new items into the DLC where they are, you know, level locked, then I hope that they put in the right item. Don't get me wrong, I don't want to see, you know, a new weapon that's super overpowered and then only available to people that are over rank 200. I don't want to see that. I'd rather them be items that aren't really super overpowered, or you know, I wouldn't want them to add in like a new supercar. Like, let's say the RE7B, which is pretty much the best supercar in the game. Not by too much because of the other Cunning Stunt vehicles, but if you look at the Cunning Stunt supercars, they're so much better than the other supercars that we've had in the game before. So could you imagine if they locked the 3 supercars that were added in Cunning Stunts, and it was like, you know what, let's just put these in a level required, so you have to be rank 500, or let's say, to actually get these. Sure, I'm sure people would try and get to level 500 to get those, but then again, there'd be an outcry on that those vehicles being overpowered, which they kinda are, because rank 500 is a pretty big feat to actually get to. However, if they were to do this, I'd like the items to be sort of just more prestigious items, more like the Dubsta 6x6. The Dubsta 6x6 isn't that great of a car. You know, you could kind of argue that it's unique, which is what's kind of cool about it, but at the same time, it's not that great. You know, it's okay in races, but you're better with other items that are also cheaper, as well as not level required. So what I'd like to see is an item that isn't overpowered, but also very cool. You know, it's a vehicle or a weapon that's very unique, and unlike the other vehicles in the game, but at the same time, it doesn't need to be that great. You know, they could add in a new supercar, have it not be that great, and, you know, it's not on the pace of the other supercars, it's not faster than any other supercar, but it just looks nice, and it's a very prestigious item. They could have this with other vehicles, maybe even Pegasus vehicles and stuff like that, but have them be higher than the max item in the game right now. Because right now, like I said, it's a minigun at level 120, which, like I keep saying, isn't that, you know, prestigious anymore, because a lot of people are over level 120. If they were to add level required items, I don't want them to be, you know, level 50 or level 100. I want them to be higher, because a lot of people would want to get to that rank. You know, it just feels like after a certain point in GT Online, you get to rank 120, and then it's over. You know, RP does not matter after that. It's just like a sort of a level. You know, it's just a number at that point. And honestly, if they were to add in new items into a DLC that is like a level, you know, 150, level 200, level 250, they could go as high as they want. If they were to add in new items like that, I feel like people would actually want to get to that rank. Let's say they added a new item that is super rare, super cool, and while it may not be the best item, it's not necessarily overpowered. If you have that item, people are going to recognize you, and they're going to go, wow, that person actually got to this certain rank to have that item. And, you know, then they'll probably go and go, you know, I want that item, I'm going to go get to that rank and unlock that item. And that would be cool, because it would incentivize you to actually go get to that level to get that item that you really desire. And I feel like it would get more people to actually play the game, to get RP. And I understand, like, the other reason is that they probably don't want level required items, because, well, not everybody is at that rank. You know, not everybody is at the rank to get to that item. So if they want to get, you know, the most shark card sales, they're just going to have it to everybody, because then it increases their chances of people buying shark cards and probably increases their profits, but at the same time, I wish that some items in DLCs and future DLCs can be sort of level locked, so that whenever you do get that item, and it actually inspires you to go and actually get to that level, because right now, that's not really the case. Anyways, leave your thoughts on this in the comments. Would you like to see new, higher level rewards in GTA Online? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hope you enjoy. Feedback is always appreciated. I'll see you guys in the next video.